It's Tuesday afternoon, and you know what that means. It's time for Randomity with the Random Christian Show. Today, Christian welcomes award-winning writer and actor Carl Gottlieb. Brought to you by Neil Getzlow's book, Unmasked, Conquering Sexual Sin and Walking in Victory. Order your copy now at neilgetzlow.com. Use the code RANDOM for a 10% discount. Also sponsored by music, podcast, and video game producer Squids Killin' It Productions. Find them on Instagram at Squids Killin' It and on Facebook at Squids Killin' It Gaming. Proudly brought to you by the SJ Network, bringing professional representation to artists, authors, and creators on all levels. Contact them at s-j-network.com. Also brought to you by Consolidated Skateboards, quality skateboarding decks, shoes, shirts, and blankets on the web at consolidatedskateboards.com. Our intro and outro music is provided by The Dead Campers. Their latest album, Savage, is out now. Check them out at deadcampers.com. With us, as always, is Matt. My name is Andy. Now, here's your host, a man so random. His password updates every 6 hours. Kristian Random.
Hey, kiddos! Welcome back, my friends, to the show that never ends. It is I, Kristian Random, and this is the Random Christian Show. Thank you so much for being with us. Yeah, we're running a little behind. That's because we're random. We just do what we want, pop in and out, however we want to do it. So there we go. Andrew, welcome to the show.
Random.
Thank you for the wonderful introduction, sir.
Thank you. I'm happy to be here.
So excited for today's guest. This is going to be absolutely amazing.
So great.
Mr. Carl Gottlieb. Hey, you know what I'm also excited for? And you're kind of excited about it too. We got this guy. We got this guy coming up soon. We got the raffle going on. So Mr. Tom Rash, the artist for DC and Marvel Comics, he is going to be on the show March 1st. So if you want to be a guest host on the show, join the raffle. It's $3 a pop. You go to the randomchristianshow.com/raffle and put in your $3, or you put in $9. That gives you 3 shots. And then we'll draw numbers, and we'll see who wins. And we'll have you on the show with Mr. Tom Rash. So make sure you go and check that out, kids. In the meantime, though, we need to get back to doing, the show kind of thing. You know what I'm saying? And that was the worst Sammy Davis Jr. impression I've ever heard. Absolutely
Pretty
worst.
bad.
Yeah.
Pretty bad.
Well, it's not one of my strong suits, I'm going to say. But I could do my Homer Simpson impression.
There you go. There you go. Stick to the classics right there. Stick to your strengths.
Stick to what I know, fat, bald man. Oh. I almost do that too well.
Right. Yeah.
So, Andrew, good week for you. Good week out there.
It is. Yeah. It's been a good week. The snow has melted. The roads are dry. I'm a very happy guy now. So all is well in Andy land, if you want to call it. If you want to call it that.
The Oregonian Andy land.
Yes. Yeah.
So you're all thought out, and Omicron has wreaked havoc on your town, hasn't it?
Oregon in general has been a little freaked out. So
it's everywhere.
Right. I know, but I think Oregon seems a little more sort of on edge than the other places. So yeah, a little bit. And so, but everybody's, but yeah, it's just like everywhere else. I can't attest to everywhere else, but I'm assuming that everyone else is going through the same stuff. So
yeah, I mean, just being in my other job, I'm connected to a lot of other states through what I do. And, just hearing people talk about it's just like, oh man. And, I work for a large corporate company, so they've already started doing all the super precautions and everything just in case this mandate thing goes through. And
yeah,
it's just crazy. And, the fact that people are going to be putting their testing lives in my hands because I'm in the supervisory managerial field. It's
Right.
scary.
Oh yeah.
Not gonna lie.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
It's nuts.
but yeah, it is what it is, and we'll all get through it as long as we all stick together and stand
Right.
strong together. So that's all I'm worried about.
Yeah.
I this week, and I know I've talked to you a little bit about it. Um, we always like to do a little something fun to help intro the show here,
Yeah.
and well, to avoid copyright problems, we were not going to do a top 10 per se list, but we, we tried to come up with a top 12 reasons, or a top 12 list, and to intro our guest, which didn't work out so well. We made it halfway.
Well, but we had so many great ideas that we just had to narrow them down into maybe something a little more exciting. So we did a top 6 list.
And you can tell Andy's been in sales. So
I just know how to talk to sales. That's all. I am an extension of sales. I am not fully sales.
You are the reason the AMC Pacer exists. That's what happens.
Right.
Yeah. So yeah, we came up with a little a top 6 list. We narrowed it down, as you said, from 247 to 6.
Right.
So
yeah.
Well, 247 would be too long, but funny, but too long.
Right. It would take the whole show. Yeah.
and maybe into next week's show. So we're just going to avoid that altogether.
Right.
So me and Andy, we came up with top 6 reasons not to be a jerk and go back into the water. Now you see that's a little hook because our guest has been involved in the movie The Jerk and the movie Jaws with the big angry fish. Which they say, don't go back into the water. So we just thought we'd have a little fun with that. And just by the way, Carl is involved in so many other things that you guys have seen and watched, and oh my gosh, it's amazing.
Yeah.
So
if I can start, I'll do 6, 5, and 4, and then if you want to bring it home with 3, 2, and 1, I think that would be good. How's that?
Okay. All right. Yeah. So
okay. All right.
Hold on, because we have effects.
That's right.
Are getting so technical. Okay. You ready?
So here we go with the top 12 reasons not to be a jerk and go back in the water. Number 6. After my plan to get mouth-to-mouth from the cute lifeguard goes wrong when I realize I'm in the new kids section who just had anchovies for lunch.
What? See, I didn't even have a chance to read most of it. I didn't make it that. Oh, good Lord.
Okay. Number 5. When the water decides to channel my old elementary school bully, Billy Jenkins, and time that perfect wave as I'm getting out of the water to take off my swimsuit and show the world what I'm working with.
a little ad lib on the end there, but yeah.
Yeah. And then number 4, on Mother's Earth, heavy seaweed flow days, which only seem to come once a month.
Hey-o. Whoa. All right. Well,
bring us home, Chris. Bring us home. The top 3 reasons not to be a jerk and go back in the water.
That's a little rough to follow there. Okay, so number 3, they don't allow dogs at the beach, or this chair, or my remote, or this ashtray. But that's all he needs.
Yeah.
No. Yeah.
No, that's valid. That's absolutely valid.
That's a little alluding to the Jerk movie.
I liked it. Yeah,
okay.
That was good. That was good. Yeah.
Yeah. Speedos on the big guys with chain smoking on the beach.
I mean, this paints such a good picture. I see it automatically when you say it, and that cringe just starts in your face. Well,
you just you look down the beach like, oh god.
Well, and you can't, and that's the weird thing too is you see that you can't look away.
No,
Like you have to follow
all the
all
way
the
into the water.
way, and it's just like,
He's like,
you
don't
know,
go in the water.
and then your mind starts to go with like backstory and like he left the house like that. Like that was a conscious decision to make as he left the house. Like, and you looked at yourself in the mirror and said that was okay.
He spent the day before going, I'm gonna wear these.
Right.
And this chain, and this chain, and that chain. Oh, I gotta have this chain.
Right.
Oh,
Yeah.
I'm gonna look freaking amazing.
The
I
image is burned into my brain, and it's gonna stay with me for the rest of the night. Thank you very much.
I'm just going to swim and keep swimming until I can't swim anymore.
Right. Number one. Number one.
Hold on. We got.
Oh yeah, here we go. The number one reason not to be a jerk and go back in the water.
The thing you feel brushing your thigh while swimming in the surf isn't a shark or any marine life, but that weird guy that was staring at you down at the concession stand. Oh, bringing it home. Wow. Yeah. Which goes back to number two in a way. So,
yeah, right. Could be that same guy. God,
you
burned in my brain
or what, huh?
No, right.
No, I don't.
Hey.
I'm
some
good.
extra cheese on those nachos, please.
Oh, I guess jalapenos for you, huh?
Oh, man.
Okay.
Yeah.
So.
Okay. With that,
so easily entertained. I swear
with that. Let's not keep our guest waiting any longer. I'm so excited for this interview.
I have been because I even went back and like I said, he's got an extensive history here, starting out writing, acting. He's worked with the Smothers Brothers, Pat Paulson for president. Oh my gosh, I so remember this. The I Spy, he was actually an actor on the show as well.
Wow.
Like I said, the Smothers Brothers, he did a lot of comedy hours with them.
Yeah.
He was in the movie MASH. Okay, the original movie MASH.
Cool. That's right. Yeah.
Young Americans, the TV special.
Right.
The Bob Newhart show, for God's sakes, Flip Wilson show, of course, Jaws, and of course, The Jerk, one of my all-time most favorite movies.
It's got to be one of the funniest movies ever.
Oh, dude, I just watched it the other night, and it's just laughing so hard.
Oh yeah,
and so we even got a little intro music for him because this song is just so awesome when they're on the beach. And the best part is, and it's going to be coming up here in just a little bit, she pulls out the cornet.
Right.
And just
it's such a great,
so sensual and fun and cute, and you're just like, oh, this is really nice. And I remember seeing this in the movie theater and turning to my dad. I'm like, what? Where did this come from? And my dad's like crying. He's laughing so hard. And I mean, I know it's funny, but I'm just like, I'm trying to figure it out. But that's Steve Martin.
No, it's
And that's, which is one of my questions. I've just got to ask, whose idea was it to bust out the cornet? Because because I know Bernadette Peters has quite a humorous side to herself.
She's got I don't know
if she
good
was
chops.
Involved in it or what.
Yeah, but, maybe. Well, let's get the man on.
Well, let's bring him on. Well, I was waiting for the cornet. Hold on. All right, I'm gonna fast forward here because there it is.
There it goes.
It's just, I don't know.
It's so great.
So happy. It's funny. So without further ado,
ladies and gentlemen,
let's bring it on. There he is, Mr. Carl Gottlieb, ladies and gentlemen. Carl, there you are, sir. How are you? Can you hear
I'm
us,
well,
Carl?
thank you, and yourselves.
All right.
We're
All
great.
right. Hey, well, of course, we were just reminiscing over one again, my favorite movies, The Jerk, which now you were involved in, and you also acted in. You were Iron. I want to say it right. Iron Balls McGinty.
Yes,
Yes.
yes, a character defined by a sound effect.
Oh God, that was great too. You didn't know, honey. Oh yeah, that was awesome. So, well, I want to thank you so much for being on this show. It is absolutely fabulous to have you here. Like I said, we've all been like, I mean, just gushing over this and going over all the stuff that you have been involved with. Now, did you just kind of decide you're going to start off as a writer? I mean, or were you an actor? I know you were part of the committee, which we actually had Larry Hankin on a while back. But not what got you inspired to be doing all that what you're doing?
Well, I always, and when I say always, I'm talking about going back to grammar school. I was always a word guy.
Okay.
By the way, when we started, I was in a grid with you guys. Now I just see the Christian Show logo on my full screen.
Uh-oh.
Oh,
Can
okay.
you guys put me
Yeah,
back in the group?
Let's see if we can fix this.
Yeah, you should. Well, we can see you. I'm not sure why you can't see us. That's very weird. Let me pull you off and back on again. And did that do anything?
Are we back?
No.
Same logo still?
We're here.
Nope.
Yeah, but if I click enter full screen, I just get the logo full screen.
Huh.
The random Christian logo.
I am not
That's-
sure, sir.
Earlier I saw you guys.
Yeah, you had us all on there.
Yeah.
Oh, let me see if I can recreate this. Oh, here.
Andy's our tech wizard, so he's gonna research that. But let's go ahead and I mean, we can all hear you right now, so let's continue. You got started off back in grammar school. You were always into the writing.
I was always a extremely verbal kid. I can't remember not being able to read. I mean, I could read when I was 4. I was reading novels when I was 6.
Wow.
So I was always into words. And then I was, kind of a class clown. And in high school, I got the graduation medal for English composition because I could really write.
Right.
And then when I went to college, the first year I was worked on the City College Humor magazine. Then I became an editor. And then I went to Syracuse and majored in theater and journalism and theater, dual major. And at that time, my theater experience was mostly technical. I was mostly a stage manager and a press agent. And then I graduated. When I joined the committee, I was a stage manager, did the lighting and sound, and then I drifted on stage in a couple of sketches. And through a long set of circumstances, which I won't bore you with, I joined the company as an actor in 1966 and had a great run as an actor. In 68, the show moved to Los Angeles. I moved with it. We came to LA. I got hired to do the movie MASH. I got hired to do the Smothers Brothers, the Glenn Campbell Summer Show. Started working with Steve Martin and Bob Einstein and Lorenzo Music and some other, Mason Williams, a bunch of other good writers on the Smothers Show.
Right.
And one thing led to another. And, every job led to another job. And luckily, some of them were good jobs. And nobody could have ever predicted the iconic stature of the Fish movie. So when the smoke and dust from that cleared, my place in history was secured. I'm so tired of saying Jaws. I now say the Fish movie. And people know what I mean.
I kind of like that though, the Big Fish movie. Yeah. The Angry Fish. We'll just call it the Angry Fish.
Yeah.
But
so
okay.
you mentioned the Smothers Brothers. So what was it like? What was the process being surrounded by so many brilliant sort of comedy minds at the time?
Yeah.
Of entertainment, and how did you all manage to work together really well, or was it hard at some times, or what was it like?
No, you gotta remember, improvisational theater, which I was deeply committed to in the committee,
Yeah.
is a very collaborative art form. So, I was used to getting together with creative people and allowing everyone room for their ideas. And, if something didn't work out or the idea wasn't viable, the room would react and we'd go on to the next thing.
Yeah.
So it was a collaborative form, and we all, kind of worked together to do the show. We split up to do, specialty things. There was a writer who mostly serviced Pat Paulson. Lorenzo Music and I wrote the Smothers monologues.
Right.
Yeah.
And we all wrote the big production numbers. And when we won the Emmy, the producers of the show, Alan Bly and Chris Beard, they had a great habit of rotating the co-head writer credit, amongst all the writers. So the episode that won the Emmy was the episode on which I happened to be a co-head writer. So that was
oh
nice.
Wow. Yeah.
And I still have that Emmy. I had to have it replated because the Los Angeles air kills everything, and it was crusted with but for $300, I'll give you it.
Oh, good Lord.
Oh, amazing.
Now you talked about working and with Lorenzo Music. Now he did and correct me if I'm wrong, he was on a lot of the Mary Tyler Moore shows.
He was a creator. He co-created the Newhart show.
Right.
He was the voice of Carlton the Doorman.
Carlton the Doorman.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
And he was also doing the animated voice of Garfield the cat at the time. He was a busy guy.
Yeah. Yeah. No, and I always, because I remember and I've mentioned this on other shows. I'm the geeky kid that always looks at the producer credits and the directors. Those are the things that always fascinate me because I see those names in other shows, and I'm like, oh, whoa, so that means this is going to be good, and so it's those are the little the stats or whatever that I like to look for, especially like on music albums and stuff too. Now, yeah, and again, the Smothers Brothers, I remember even as a kid, just being so entertained by those shows. And I wasn't that young of a kid, but I was still younger. And they were such an edgy fashion, but so sleight of hand edgy. It's like you just got smacked in the face with something, and then all of a sudden you're just like, oh my God. While you're laughing, you realize, oh yeah, I just got woke up to something. So I always love the little underlying messages and a lot of stuff. Now, as we've mentioned that Flip Wilson, you worked with Flip Wilson, and now you wrote on his show. Where's my 18 episodes on the Flip Wilson show. Now that had to be just a blast. Do you have a lot of fun doing these shows, or is it just really work sometimes?
Oh no, it's fun to do because you're improvising, you're making comedy. If it works, you're laughing half the time. So there's nothing difficult to it. It's just you just have to kind of free up your creative side so you're not self-censoring or you're not suppressing any good ideas. You just articulate everything, and whatever works gets the approval of the room, and you move ahead, and that's what you do.
Right, right. So, so basically, there was always kind of a consortium in a way when you did a lot of your writing for these shows. It's not just like maybe you and one other guy, and you just go, here, this is what we're doing.
No, it was a great, there was a lot of communal pitching. There was a lot of everybody in the same room throwing ideas around, and then the head writers would parcel out who did what, and we'd go off to our cubicles and write our assignments and turn them in.
Right, right. Now, you've got hold on, I want to make sure I don't misspeak, but I know I saw it in here. You worked with the Johnny Carson show for a while, correct?
I appeared on the show. I didn't work with it. No.
Oh, I thought you were also a writer on there. I'm sorry. Like I said, Carl,
I never.
I've got 3 pages of deep notes.
Are you looking at the IMDb listings or what?
No. Matt, my director, helped, and we were going through, and he basically went through and put everything in chronological order. And I mean, from 1966 into 2010. And I mean, man, I it is just so awesome. All these things that all these movies, these shows that I loved, I was like, oh my gosh, how did and because I went, I did a dive on IMDb, and so yeah, we're just it's just so awesome. So yeah, we're up into the 70s here. And like I said, you did the movie MASH. Now, you mentioned that. So when you first got into LA, was that like, did you just happen to audition for that, or how did that happen?
Yeah. Altman came to see the show, the committee's show.
The committee, right?
And the committee was playing on the Sunset Strip. I had like everybody else, I had a prominent part in the show. It was a review, so we all had lots of stage time.
Right.
And he saw the show, and he asked me to audition. And then I think he had another actor in mind, but it was an Australian actor who could not get a green card or permission to enter. So I got the job, and the character, and I inherited the other actor's wardrobe, which included an Aussie hat. So I was presumably Australian. But
oh yeah, the bush hat.
That only exists in the hat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I remember that.
But I kept the hat.
Did you really? Oh. Oh man, that is awesome. Now, did they let you keep a lot of the stuff when you did movies like that, or were they like, no, this is coming back into props?
Oh, some of the wardrobe attendant, well, your wardrobe guy was like, here, just don't say anything, take it. So I did.
That is so, oh my gosh. Yeah, because I'd be like, oh no, I'm taking this.
Some actors will only do a show if they can keep their wardrobe. That's the way they keep themselves in new clothes at no cost.
That's funny. That's great.
Okay, and yeah, just real quickly before I jump into this one thing, just for people that are listening, because I tried to get Larry to talk about it a little bit, but he just really grazed over it. The committee, can you explain to us, for everybody else out there listening, what the committee actually is? I mean, Larry just said, oh, it was an improv troupe, but I think it was a lot more than that. It was, I think, it was a real show. It was a production.
No, it was a classic improv show in a little cabaret theater in North Beach.
Uh-huh.
We did topical, we did suggestions, we did pure improvisation, we took suggestions from the audience. We did a set show consisting of successful sketches that had begun as improvisations.
Mm-hmm.
We did 13 shows a week, 2 shows a night, 3 on Saturday.
Yeah.
And we would do the first show, which consisted of a mixture of improvisation and set material from the show that had been successful in the past. Then we would take suggestions from the audience, invite them to stay, and then the second show, the late show, would be composed mostly of improvisations based on the first audience's suggestions.
Yeah.
and a few sketches that we would do for insurance because we knew they worked. And I was always very scrupulous about introducing material. I would say, here's an improvisation based on your suggestion, which means we never did it before. Here's a scene from our repertoire based on your suggestion, which is a scene we had done before with great success and had repeated many times. And then here's a scene in progress, which was a scene which had begun with a successful improvisation, usually earlier in the week or earlier in the month. And it wasn't ready to go into the show, but we'd still be working on it. And that would be a work in progress. So we had 3 levels of material that we would do. And so we were working all the time. And luckily, we were dark on Mondays. And in those days, you got to remember, there was only 2 or 3 improvisational theaters in the country. There was Second City in Chicago.
Yeah.
There was Compass Theater, which was back and forth, Chicago and St. Louis. And there was the Premise in New York, which was Ted Flicker's company. And that was it. I mean, if you were an improvisational actor in 1965 or 1964, you knew almost every other improvisational actor.
Right.
Wow. So very, very tight knit kind of.
Very, very tight knit and insular show. And curiously, when they did the movie of MASH, the only actor from the movie, when they did the TV show of MASH, the only actor from the movie that made the transition was Gary Berghoff.
Yeah.
Which I've never understood.
Yeah. Now, was there any bit from your time at the committee that you remembered that sort of stuck with you that you sort of edited and put into one of your movies, or anything that you wrote, anything that was just so good that when you were writing that just sort of hit like, oh, that's got to go in?
Yeah.
Peter Bonner and I did a sketch together called Drummer, which was a perfectly contained 4-minute comedy hunk that if vaudeville still existed, we could have toured with that piece of material for the rest of our lives.
Oh my gosh.
It was one of those, it was like a W.C. Fields.
Yeah.
I mean, it was a perfect bit of material. And I did a couple of TV specials, and I included that piece of material in it. There's I think that's available on, if you look at YouTube for Drummer sketch for Night of a Dozen Stars, you'll see it. It's a very funny, successful sketch. And when we improvised it, it was almost perfect the first time out.
Oh, really?
Oh, wow.
We improvised it one night. It worked so well, we did it the next couple of nights, and bang, it became part of the repertoire for the next 5 years.
That was just part of the
that's great.
Okay, so now, and I'm trying to keep in the timeline here. You had Celebration at Big Sur, where you were producer. Let's talk a little bit about that. Explain to me what again. Was this your first producing gig here? I'm sorry.
No, I had produced summer theater, and I had done producer functions, but this was a full out, producer gig.
Right.
Let's see. trying to remember the circumstances. Okay. Joan Baez was a fan of the committee. Her sister Mimi was in the show, dating one of our actors, another actor. So we had pretty close ties with the Baez family, Mimi and her sister Joan, and my old roommate Mylan married Mimi, so they were a couple.
Oh wow!
So we were very close with them. And Joan had this pet charity called they would do a folk festival in Big Sur Folk Festival.
Mm-hmm.
The little festivals on the grounds of the Esalen Institute, perfect place for a 2,000 or 3,000 people venue, and people would show up every year. And Joan said, "We'd love to. We have a budget to film it if you can put a crew together." So my wife and I found a cameraman, editor, directing team, and they turned us on to some other freelance camera people. So we got together the money and we filmed the show. And it happened, the show was a couple of weeks after Woodstock. And some of the performers who were at Woodstock, like Crosby, Stills, Nash and Young and John Sebastian, can be seen wearing the same wardrobe they wore on stage at Woodstock. It took us a year to get the film finished. But in the meantime, Woodstock came out and kind of, gave us a market for concert films.
Right.
And we got an angel producer named Ted Mann, who owned Mann Theaters and Mann's Chinese Theater.
Yeah.
And Ted loved the movie and he bought it, turned it around and sold it to Fox for double what we paid for it. So everybody made money. The show, the movie was distributed by Fox nationally. It all worked out for the best.
Wow. Yeah, that's absolutely amazing. Now, so, and do you like being involved? I mean, your political satire and stuff. I mean, you see so many hints of it throughout all your work. Do you really enjoy that, or is that just something you've just found that you're very good at? I mean, you always have some kind of underlying tone in a lot of your humor.
Well, I think you have to understand that what I do is what I like to do.
Right.
I don't have a work, personal job division. I don't have a dichotomy.
Yeah.
I do what I want to do, and it happens to be show business. I love to make entertainment, whether I'm performing or getting others to perform or turning other people on to other people's performances, or producing the show myself if I have to.
Mm-hmm.
It's basically what I do. I make entertainment.
Yes, and very well.
So
I'm just gonna say,
no, especially in the political.
The great thing is, I have to say that because I worked in a collaborative form, and in the committee was a politically conscious organization,
right,
with a great deal of emphasis on current events. It was natural for me to draw inspiration from the world around us.
Yeah.
So it was like automatic that we were topical humorists.
Okay.
So in writing political satire and stuff like that, did you have any issues dealing with like the network censors and like having to change goalposts?
Always, of course.
Yeah.
Of course, always.
I mean,
some other show we were fighting the censors all the time.
Yeah.
Well, there was all kinds of tricks. Sometimes you would put something outrageous in that you knew the censors would object to, and it would kind of, take their attention off of something more slyly subversive that you would include
okay.
later on the page. It was a constant battle between us and them.
So let me ask you this, because I learned that in radio a while back. That I'm sorry, what was that?
Well, it wasn't because it was television. we had a black man kissing a white woman in a sketch, and the Southern affiliates took offense at that.
Oh,
Oh,
wow.
wow.
And yeah, yeah, yeah. And it was a very funny blackout as a black man and a white bride, and the preacher says, it's a short sketch. Lights come up. Preacher's saying, "I now pronounce you man and wife. You may kiss the bride." And the black man kisses the white woman, and the preacher, and the preacher's next line is usually, "May I have the ring?" But in this particular blackout, the black man kisses the white woman, and then the preacher says, "May I have the rope, please?" And they hand him a hangman's noose.
Oh.
Oh, boom. Wow. Okay.
Yes.
And wow. Okay. So now, and I was just saying, when I was in radio, I learned because me and my partner did a lot of comedy bits and stuff like that, and we did a lot of things that really pushed the envelope. So we kind of did like what you were saying. We always had one joke that was like so far, like they're just like, oh no, 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 you there's just no way you can do that. And then we'd be like, well, then we got this, which is what we really wanted anyway, And then they're like, yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. We'll let that slide. So you guys, I mean, obviously, and I mean, we'd heard about that.
We were masters at that. We were masters at that. But the network wasn't stupid. They could see what we were doing some of the time. Not all the time, but some of the time.
So
It was
kind of
ongoing tension.
it was one of those things. Oh, and by the way, I have enabled the chat there, folks. Sorry about that.
I want to say
So
hi
a
to
few of you-
our longtime friend Corey Hall, who's in the chat. Hey, Corey, hope you're feeling better.
Corey, longtime listener. Yeah, buddy. Hope the COVID's not holding you down too hard. Now, let's see. Let's keep going with the timeline here because we're well up into the 70s. And the Tonight Show. Now, you just acted on there with the Tonight Show, correct? I thought I saw something where you had done some writing for him.
Let me be clear about the Tonight Show. In 1971 or 72, my then wife and I got a job producing commercials for the Celanese Corporation, which had bought the largest time buy in the history of the Tonight Show. The original notion was to have an improvisational company do a new commercial every night for a Celanese product.
Okay.
Well, that turned out to be impossible because the Tonight Show was technically limited for live in-show comedy.
Uh-huh.
They only had one camera, which meant the only live commercials they did was Ed McMahon selling dog food.
Right.
So what we would do, we would just sit with the sponsors, come up with 5 or 10 or 20 ideas for clever commercials that ran for 60 seconds. We would go off and shoot them in San Diego with a resident company of zanies that included Larry Hankin and Dan Barrows and Valerie Curtin, Carol Androsky. There's a whole, the Celanese players, we called ourselves.
Yeah.
And we would do it. We would do a bunch of 60-second spots, and all those spots aired on the Tonight Show, exclusively on the Tonight Show, for almost a year. Every other night,
Oh,
we had a commercial.
Okay.
God.
And
Okay.
if most people don't remember, but 60 seconds is a nice long commercial. You can do a very funny sketch in 60 seconds.
Right.
Yeah.
Which we did.
It's amazing
So
when you.
for a year, we did commercials.
Okay.
Okay.
So for 18 months, we did commercials for the Tonight Show. So that explains the Tonight Show.
Yeah.
Okay.
So by 72, 73, we were done with that. We took some time off. We went to Nepal. My wife and I came back and continued in show business.
Yes. All right. And very successfully so, because yeah, you've got the again back with the Flip Wilson show, which just got to ask, working with
The
Flip Wilson.
Flip Wilson show. I only did 4 Flip Wilson shows. He went off the air on a regular basis,
Right.
and then he did 4 specials for NBC in 70 something or other. And I was on that staff, so I did those 4 specials with Flip.
Okay, yeah,
And
I
Louis
guess
Tomlin and Warren Michaels was the producer for a while. It was a lot of fun.
wow.
Most of my
I mean,
jobs have been fun. I've enjoyed all my jobs.
now, right, the now working with the Flip Wilson show, you said that they were kind of off and on back at that time. I mean, this is back when black people are becoming more prominent into the mainstream. Did you guys have a lot of problems writing for the show and stuff? Was there a lot of censorship with what Flip wanted to do, or uh
No, Flip was, Flip just wanted to be the star and be funny.
yeah.
And he had great guests. We had Richard Pryor and Lily Tomlin, all kinds of great, Peter Sellers. We had great guests on that show.
Oh God, yeah. No, that was awesome shows, and I loved his Geraldine. That's just honey.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're moving up into, yep, you guessed it, the fish. We're moving up into the fish time zone here, which was, where are we at? Was that
74.
1976? 74? Yes, there it is.
4.
I'm trying to keep chronological order here. I apologize. So yes, the fish movie, Jaws, the first big summer blockbuster, comes out, and now how? I mean, you were brought in just for the comedy aspect?
No, I was friends with Spielberg. We knew each other. We had tried to sell projects together. I had appeared in 2 of his television movies. You can see me in passing in, like I say, two of his TV movies.
Right.
Okay.
And we had the same agent, a guy named Mike Medavoy, who later went on to run United Artists. But
Oh, wow.
Mike believed
Wow.
in synergy. He was one of the first agents to actually package his clients together. So he put me and Steven together, and we wrote ideas and then went out and pitched them with the idea that I would write, if we sold the pitch, I would write the movie and Steven would direct it. And we couldn't get a sale because nobody wanted to commit to Steven as a director
Oh, wow.
because he hadn't
kidding.
directed anything important.
Oh my God.
Yeah, so
they're all kicking themselves.
So then, after Duel came out, Steven's reputation was more established. And then he wanted to do he knew he did a movie for Zanuck and Brown with Goldie Hawn called Sugarland Express,
Yes.
Oh,
which
yeah.
was very well received by the critics, but it tanked at the box office. And Steven knew he needed a popcorn hit if he was going to be a important director.
Right.
So he found the script for Jaws in a pile on the desk at Zanuck and Brown's office and said, I want to do this movie next. And he sent me a copy of the script with a note saying, eviscerate it. So I wrote him a bunch of notes on the movie. And I had 2 notes. One note was incredibly prescient and correct, and the other note was just wrong on every level. The wrong note was, I said, do we have to kill the girl who goes swimming right at the top of the movie? That is such a horror movie cliche. Teenagers have fun and get naked and then they die.
Right.
It's a cliche. Well, but nobody could foresee how Steven would shoot that death,
Right.
which made it, the opening of the movie and incredibly vivid and exciting. So I was wrong on that one. I was right because I also wrote in that same memo, if we, meaning Steven and I, if we do our jobs right, people will feel about going in the water the way they felt about taking a shower after Psycho.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And
Oh, good Lord,
and
yes.
sure enough, on the on the AFI list of the 100 best horror films of all time, Psycho is number 1 and Jaws is number 2.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I mean, rightfully so. I'm gonna say, as a kid, I mean, I grew up a water baby. I went to the beach all the time. I grew up surfing, and I'll tell you, after seeing that movie, yeah, no, I thought about it for about a year and a half, and I used to just go play in the surf. So, um, so yeah, that's. I mean, the whole effect of that was great, and so you've written Jaws, and I mean, how much did that just totally just rearrange your life? I mean, did you still just go with the fact that you're like, no, I'm going to keep pushing the comedy, or were you like, I need to kind of work on this a little more, because you ended up with Jaws 2 and 3 not too long afterwards.
Well, but in between there, I did a Richard Pryor movie called Which Way Is Up, which I'm very
Yes.
proud of.
Oh, so
Yes.
good.
After
It was so fun.
Jaws, I did Which Way Up.
And
then I did Jaws 2, Dr. Detroit. I was working pretty steady in those days as a screenwriter and a screen doctor.
yeah, yes, Screen Doctor. Okay, hold on. I lost. Oops, I went to the wrong page. I'm sorry. Okay, so okay, let's do this. Before we go any further, I want to do a quick commercial, and then I want to come back and I want to jump into the rest of the Jaws and how you progressed out of that, and especially with Every Which Way Is Up with Richard Pryor. So can you just give us a minute here, sir, and then we're going to run this commercial, and then we'll be right back.
Go ahead.
Okay, we will do this. Okay, guys. So we're going to take a quick minute here and talk about Mr. Neil Getzlow and his book Unmasked. The Random Christian Show is proudly sponsored by Neil Getzlow's new book, Unmasked. Hey, it's Kristian, and we're all struggling with something in our lives. I mean, men and women both. Maybe it's an addiction or loneliness or bitterness, something that just keeps us on edge. Well, for Neil Getzlow, he had an addiction to porn that started when he was just 9 years old. And then it built up and it turned into a sex addiction as an adult. But thanks to the power of prayer and forgiveness from both God and his wife, Neil was able to walk away from those struggles and completely turn his life around. Now, it may be you or somebody you know, but if Neil can do it, I promise you, you can do it too. There is hope and there is a way out. God's going to give you the path, but are you going to take it? I want you to check out Neil's new book, Unmasked, and learn all about this. If you use the code RANDOM for free shipping, you're going to save a bunch of money and you're going to really help yourself or somebody out. All right. Go to therandomchristianshow.com. There's a link there, or go to neilgetzlow.com, NeilGetzlow.com, and check it out. Don't forget to put in the code RANDOM for free shipping. All right. And there we are. All right. Thank you so much for that time. Okay. So we're up to Jaws 2. And this is really where my air comes in, because we're coming up to my favorite part, the jerk. Okay. So we've done Jaws 2 and the jerk. Now you worked with Neil, I'm sorry, Neil. You worked with Steve Martin as a writer back in the days. What shows, where did you meet Steve?
I met him on the Smothers Show. Actually, the Glenn Campbell Summer Show.
Okay.
We were all hired as writers the summer of '69.
All right. Now, and
then,
obviously you guys had a great rapport.
Yeah, we got on great together. I was writing a screenplay. I house sat his place in Aspen, Colorado, and I took care of his cats. And we were good friends.
Yeah, no, and well, I mean, and you can tell on the right now. What? I'm sorry, sir.
Okay, we were good friends, and David Picker, who was running Paramount Studios at the time. Hang on a second, let me see who this is. Call from Jacobs, Marcia. Hang on a second. Call from Jacobs, Marcia. Hey, Marcia, I'm on the television. Can I call you back? Okay. Sorry.
No, that's great. I love it. So, okay.
Moment of reality. Where was I?
Hey, it just proves that you're just as
I was
real as the rest of us.
All right. Let me jump ahead. So Paramount Studios was being run by David Picker at the time. David Picker was third generation movie people. David Picker's grandfather ran a Nickelodeon in Boston at the turn of the 19th century.
Oh, wow.
And his father was in motion picture distribution. So Picker really knew the business, and he saw Steve do a breakout concert at the Dorothy Chandler Pavilion and realized that Steve had an unlimited future. So he made a 3-picture deal at Paramount for Steve Martin to write and direct his own movies. And then Steve came to me and said, listen, you've done a couple of features, including Jaws. You've done a great movie. Will you collaborate with me? Because I've never done a movie. So I said, great. So we became partners, and we wrote what was the first draft of The Jerk together.
Okay.
And then we rewrote it a couple of times, and then Michael Elias came on board and rewrote it yet again, and Carl Reiner directed it with a great deal of cleverness and inventiveness, and that movie turned out to be a hit. What a surprise. It was great for all of us.
Did you learn anything from that process in collaborating with Steve and then working with Carl as the director? Like, what did you pull away from that experience?
I took away from that, when you're working with talented people, step back and let them do what they do. Don't second guess your partner. Don't second guess your partners. They were smart enough. If they were smart enough to hire you, they're smart enough to see where the comedy is.
Well,
step back and
let them do
what
their
they
thing.
do.
Yep.
Yeah.
Now, how much of that movie was I have to imagine. I know it was written, but with Steve Martin, there had to be a lot of improv thrown in there as well, a lot of ad-libbing.
Oh, I'm sure there was. I wasn't around for the filming of it because I had moved on. I was doing something else. So they hired a writer that Steve had worked with in the past named Michael Elias, who did a further rewrite. So the final credits on The Jerk is story by Steve Martin and Carl Gottlieb, screenplay by Steve Martin, Carl Gottlieb, and Michael Elias. So Michael had a huge part, and also Carl Reiner, who was a very inventive guy.
Oh yeah.
But the Writers Guild credit rules don't permit a director to claim a credit unless he's done like more than 60% of the script, and Carl's contribution didn't add up to that.
Right.
So he didn't get a screen credit for writing.
Yeah, but you couldn't have asked
But
for
the
a better
combination of
director.
Carl Reiner and Steve Martin, but the combination of Carl Reiner and Steve Martin and me and Michael was a movie that when Paramount had a change of management, when Barry Diller and Mike Eisner came over to run Paramount, they did what new executives always did. They were supposed to be running it in triumvirate with Picker, but what they did was they shit-canned his projects.
Oh no.
So all of a sudden Steve Martin was off the table. But part of the development that Picker had put in place was casting Steve in a short film called The Absent-Minded Waiter, which I directed.
Yes.
As kind of a proof of concept that he could be a movie star. And sure enough, Absent-Minded Waiter was nominated for an Academy Award.
Oh my God.
Wow.
And that was such a great a little short. Now, did you have any I didn't see any notes on it, but did you have any anything to do with the Cruel Shoes? That was a book he wrote, and then there was also a little that was all Steven. Okay. Because there was a little video short of that, but I haven't seen it in years. And I haven't really dug into YouTube that deep on it, but I had the book for the longest time. I just thought it was hilarious. But okay, so now we're moving into Caveman. We have Caveman that came out, which Ringo Starr and Barbara Brock. Now you wrote all how
And
far?
Shelley Long.
Oh, that's right. God, yeah, that's right.
Yeah, that's right.
What you wrote all of that? Now,
And Dennis
did you?
Quaid.
And Dennis Quaid, yes, yes.
Oh, wow.
I mean, yeah, it was so funny. I mean, you
I
had
wrote I wrote Cave I wrote Caveman as a collaboration with Rudy DeLuca,
okay.
who was one of Mel Brooks's favorite slapstick writers.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. What was it now? Was that something that was that presented to you, or is that something you kind of had the background on it, and you're like, I want to kind of
The
work with?
producer, the producers came to me and said, "Do you remember 1 million BC?" So I said, "Do you mean the black and white version or the one with Raquel Welch in a fur bikini?"
Yeah.
And they said both of them. We want to do the same. We want to do the same thing, only funny. Oh, prehistoric comedy. So I said, okay. And one thing led to another, and wrote a script with no dialogue, and they agreed to make it.
Oh my gosh.
So we
Wow.
all went to Mexico and shot it on location in Mexico. Had a great
Good
time.
Lord. Wow. That must, and I mean, that's one of those movies where it's like watching like a couple of Mel Brooks, not his popular films, but you can tell everybody is just having a blast in that film. Is that how it kind of was? I mean, was there just so many people just, and you're like, okay, we got to focus on the movie, guys.
No, guys, I think you got a warped notion of what show business is really like. Movies are hard work.
Oh yeah.
Always have been, always will be. So when you get a green light to do a movie, the good news is you got a green light. The bad news is you got to shoot a fucking movie. And if you're the director, as I was, you're responsible for every fucking decision.
Yeah.
Along the way. And my mother was complaining that I didn't have any time for my family at that point. And I said, Mom, let me give you an analogy. Imagine a hourglass, a bunch of sand at the top, passes through a narrow little spot and comes out at the bottom. Making a movie is the narrow spot of the hourglass.
It's the apex.
The whole budget, everything in the movie passes through that tiny space. And you, as a director, have to traffic manage that space.
Right. Yep.
And let through all the good stuff and filter out the stuff that's less effective.
Right. And push that to the back.
That's an awesome responsibility. And it's not easy. It's nothing you can do easily. It's hard work.
No, yeah. It's just, total time commitment. And then this leads us. Oh, and by the way, you were in The Sting 2. I just wanted to note because I love the movie The Sting and The Sting 2. So just little side bit that I when I saw, I was like, oh my gosh, that's so cool. Dr. Detroit. Dr. Detroit. What brought you into that one now? This was it because of, I know you had a little bit of a connection with SNL.
I knew Dan Aykroyd from Saturday Night Live and his partnership with Belushi, and that was a doctor job. They started shooting that picture with a different script and a new director named Michael Pressman, and they got into trouble. And I had a reputation after Jaws 2 and 3 for being able to fix scripts in trouble. So they called me, and I flew to Chicago and went right to work on doctoring the script and trying to make it presentable. And I think I succeeded. I made it into a acceptable movie.
What was the funnest part of that movie for you? I mean, I know it's Just I know.
There's no fun. You guys, you're not hearing me. Making movies is hard work. It's not fun. The fun is in the abstract. I'm making entertainment. I'm doing a show.
Yeah.
But it's long hours and frustration and dealing with stupid people and trying to explain yourself and justify every decision. So it's not, it's not a walk in the park. It's hard work.
Oh
If
no,
you
no,
ask
no,
me
no.
now, that's what I'll tell you. It's
I'm
hard
sorry,
work.
and I'm not trying to give that off. I know there's a lot of work involved, sir, and and it's not that. What?
So it
Right. What
is there?
Go ahead, Andy. I'm sorry.
Okay, is there anyone over your career that you didn't have the chance to work with that you wish you would have? Or you just wanted the chance to?
No. I mean, it's. I never got a chance to work with Bob Dylan. I never got a chance to work with the Beatles. I never got a chance to work with. I did work with one Beatle. I worked with Ringo.
I was going to say Ringo.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, there's one of the things I got used to when I came to Hollywood was, celebrities lost their charm and uniqueness. You've seen
Right.
one, world-class centerfold babe pick her nose, that the illusion is gone. And you realize that, everybody in the business is human and has flaws and faults, and
Yeah.
sometimes they are successful in spite of themselves. Sometimes they have a very keen notion about what their public persona is, and they play to that. I mean, you'll never catch the Kardashians making a wrong step,
Right.
publicity-wise.
Yeah, that's true. You don't really catch on a lot of that.
Consequently, we're all exposed to a great deal of Kardashians.
Right.
Oh, God,
Yeah.
yes. Yeah. Unfortunately. Now we had
So,
I'm sorry, I cut you off.
oh yeah, I never got to work with Cary Grant. I never got to work with with Hitchcock.
Yeah.
There was
Oh yeah.
people I would have liked to work with, but our paths didn't cross. I didn't get hired on any projects that they were working on, so then
Yeah.
they would die or retire, and then now I'm at the age where everybody I know is dead or retiring, or already retired. So
Yeah.
I had a couple people email some questions into us that I thought were great questions. One of these was Steven Spielberg is known for his ability to pull the heartstrings with his writing and directing. The best example is his contribution to the movie version of The Twilight Zone with his rework of Kick the Can and Scatman Crothers. When he was young, it was the least favorite of that anthology. But when he became older and rewatched it, it brought him to tears. You were brought on by Spielberg to add humor to Jaws. What was it like striking a balance between Spielberg's unique ability to tell a story and your ability to break the tension by adding a little comedy into there?
Well, I don't mean to pick on you guys, but you guys ask a lot of what was it like questions.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was like a job.
Yeah.
Is what it was like. It was like a job. I went in every day and did my work. I had to act in the movie too. So one of the, if you look at the original release print of Jaws, I've got co-star billing with Lorraine Gary and Murray Hamilton because I had a big part in Jaws.
All right.
Yes.
But as a conscientious rewriter, I cut my own role because it wasn't necessary. Greater love and commitment hath no writer than to actually reduce the speaking lines to make the movie better. But that's what I did. So my job was to serve Stephen's vision, to give the actors credible dialogue, because they had a lot of wooden speeches that previous writers had written. I was good with dialogue, so I cleaned up the dialogue. I specifically tailored the dialogue to the actual actors: Richard Dreyfuss, Robert Shaw,
right,
Roy Scheider, Lorraine Gary, Murray Hamilton, all those people. Since I was on the set and on location, I heard them and saw them every day, and I could write specifically for their personas, which meant that I was writing lines that the actors could do easily and to great effect. There's a couple of speeches where the actors just memorized them and delivered them with great effect.
yeah.
And I was proud of that.
Yeah.
No, it was, yeah. Okay, so what is and like, again, like you said, you've worked many different facets of this business. You've done the directing, producing, the writing, acting. If there was one that you could just focus on, and I know it's all work, like, especially you said the director just is such a phenomenal task. Would you prefer to just have stayed an actor, or doing the comedian stuff, or would you rather be?
Here's the thing. If the business treated writers the same way they treated directors, I'd be happy to be just a writer, because directors get to make all the decisions. And by default, now directors were not always the ultimate voice in a movie. In the old days, in the studio days, producers produced the movie, and they fired directors if they weren't happy with their work.
Right.
But then the business changed, and all of a sudden the directors became ascendant, and it became a director's medium. So everybody paid attention to the director. So in terms of authority and being the boss, I'd like to be a director first and foremost. After that, being an actor is the most fun, because all you have to do is your character, learn your lines, show up on the set, say your words, hit your marks, and then go back to your trailer and wait for them to bring you lunch. It's very easy, and they pay you well for that.
Right.
So, first, in terms of authority, I'd like to be a director. In terms of comfort, I'd like to be an actor. In terms of what I can do well, I like to be a writer, because I can do that without a lot of the pain and effort that other people have. Although I suffer pain and I have effort when I'm writing. When writing is painful, long work. You're all by yourself with nothing but a keyboard.
Right. But okay. And no, and yeah, that's awesome. That's a great explanation of it, because and it's there's so many, there's good aspects in each and every one of them, and then there's so many downsides to each side as well. So I totally get that. I was just just trying to see which one was going to be your fave. So listen, we're coming up on the end of your time.
Let me give you a quote from George Bernard Shaw.
Yeah.
Somebody said, "Mr. Shaw, do you enjoy writing?" And he said, "I enjoy having written."
that nails it on that.
That's great.
He knew what a painful, lonely process it was.
Yeah.
Okay, what else?
Okay, so like I said, I know we're coming up on the end of your time here. We promised to keep you to a certain time frame. So we just have a couple of quick, simple little fun questions we like to do towards the end of the interview. Just
Sure.
a couple little fun ones. So we call them random questions of insanity. And one of our favorites that we love to ask, well, we have two, which I'm going to throw at you. First off, what is your favorite James Bond movie?
I think From Russia with Love.
Oh,
that's the one where Robert Shaw is the villain.
That's right.
And it's one of the only Bond films in which the antagonist is a worthy antagonist. In all the other Bond films, the antagonists are jokes, Goldfinger, Jaws, Richard Keel.
Yeah.
They're grotesques. But in From Russia with Love, Robert Shaw when you saw Robert Shaw, you said, "Holy shit, this guy could give Sean Connery a tussle."
Yeah, he could jack him up.
Yeah, it's not guaranteed that James Bond is going to beat the shit out of this guy.
Yeah.
Could go either way.
Right. we got a coin toss going on. Dude, that is.
And then the second villain in that movie is Lottie Lenya, who played Rosa Krebs, the one, the evil woman with daggers in her shoes.
Yeah, that's right.
So it was, the good villains.
Yeah,
that's the secret of a Bond film.
Oh yeah, and they were fun too. Oh my gosh, that was it's an amazing answer. That's like one of the best answers we've ever had.
Okay, so that's my favorite Bond. That's my favorite Bond film. What else?
Okay, our second one is very simple. It's fun. If you're going to go to your fridge and make your favorite sandwich, describe your favorite sandwich from the bread right down to the meat.
Either a croissant or a brioche bun.
Ooh.
With fresh turkey or roast beef, butter and lettuce and mayonnaise, a little bit of mustard.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Okay, spicy mustard or plain mustard?
Dijon.
Dijon.
Yeah, I like it. I
like it. That was beautiful. Yep. No, simple, but right to the point. Beautiful. Oh, well, that does it.
Did you have some listener questions that you wanted answered, that they wanted answered?
We threw a few out already, and like I said, and like you pointed out, they kind of
we covered most of them in the conversation. So
that's why the notes have gone to the wayside, sir.
Okay,
but
I don't want to leave anything left unsaid or unanswered.
No, and you have absolutely answered everything wonderfully, and I cannot thank you so much for taking time to come on the show and spend time with us, sir. It's absolutely a blast, sir. And again, thank you very much from the bottom of my heart. I appreciate it. I know you're a very busy man, and we really appreciate you having come on here. So, ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, just want to say thank you. Have a beautiful
day,
much, Carl. Mr. Carl Gottlieb.
Thank you so much.
Thank you all.
Exit music. There it is, right there. It's a little delay. All right, Carl, thank you. Have a great day, sir. And there we go.
You too. Bye.
Just had to play the song.
Oh, yeah.
It was potted down. I had it down too much. Wow. So, dude, so much. That was just awesome.
It's always fun to pick that mind, because it seems like it. I don't know that Hollywood will ever sort of reach the era again and be that iconic ever again. And so a lot of what he did paved the way in terms of just comedy and big cinema and everything. And I just don't, sitting in the same virtual room with him, hearing him sort of, his process, and it's just incredible. It really is incredible.
Well, and you got to think about, the era that he was in was right after, it was right at the point where movies were really starting to become, the major things that they were, the epic.
Yeah.
I mean, he wrote the biggest, the first blockbuster summer movie,
Right.
And then it became a thing after that. So he was the one who broke the ground on it. And that's how it all happened after that. So
yeah,
there's the cornet.
Yeah.
Sorry.
But you know what?
I'm pulling it down.
But finding that balance of terror and comedy, I think just makes, it really makes that it's not just a horror movie,
right.
And it's not just a comedy. It becomes a smart movie on all levels, which is just incredible. It's at that level of writing is so hard to reach, and it's just I still can't believe he was here. Like I still can't believe we got him on. That just it's incredible.
And
So
I know and I know he's burnt out on talking about Jaws, which kind of bummed me out because I had some more Jaws questions, but
yeah,
I totally get it. I mean, this is what he's been known for years, and he's very gracious about it. But it's like, dude, how many times can you answer basically the same questions?
right.
And I mean, but you gotta talk. You think he put in that line, "We need a bigger boat." Yeah, or we're gonna
Oh
need
yeah,
a bigger boat. I mean,
right.
that was some of his writing,
Yeah,
because those are those little comedy tweaks that he throws in. It's dry and it's totally hidden, but then it just comes out of nowhere. You're like, "Oh, dude, that's a great line."
yeah,
Those little tweaks, that's what makes a great writer. That's what makes a
yeah,
great director. And, like he said, imagine an hourglass coming down and then all that little sand trickling out. That's what I do. And yeah, he's
yeah.
well, and who else was it? Who'd we have on a while back that was talking about running around and, oh yeah, I've got to adjust the mic. Uh
Oh.
He
Uh,
he sent his microphone guy home because he was falling asleep, and he was running the mic and
right.
directing the movie, and it's like, those are all things that, I mean, yeah,
Oh,
you
that was
gotta be
Stan.
kind of. I'm sorry?
That was Stan Livingston,
Yeah,
right?
Stan Levy, yes, yes, yes.
Yeah,
Sorry, Stan.
yeah,
But that's what makes those people great, and that's what puts them
yeah,
up into that upper echelon of, writer, director, and, everybody's like, "Oh, yeah, you can just write a movie or whatever." No, you don't just write a movie. You write, you rewrite, you write it over again. Then you go back and you fine tune this one part, and then you gotta go back to this scene and scratch that scene out and change it to this kinda scene. I mean, there's so many levels and depths that go into just writing, and then when you're directing it, you have an image, but then they've got an image, and you've got to make those images work together to make everybody happy and put the best thing out there that's going to blow everybody away.
yeah,
And it's just an awesome responsibility, and the way guys like that, he took that and made it his own thing, and they put it out there, and then working with Spielberg to
right.
put that vision out there, and like he said, that first scene, he's like, "Why do we have to have the girl die right in the beginning? It's
Yeah,
cliche." But the
yeah,
way Spielberg did it, and, I started thinking in my head, I was like, "What was it about that scene?" And then you think about it, like, she gets slammed into the buoy, and she's
right.
like, "Oh, oh god, okay, okay." And you're like, "Oh, okay, this is oh god, there she goes again," and
Yeah,
oh my god. Yeah,
yeah. Well,
that's just
and
amazing, right?
and I love that he said that we wanted to make people feel about going in the water what it was like, taking a shower after seeing
Yes,
Psycho.
I've seen
And
Psycho.
I mean, I went to college in Santa Barbara, and I felt that terror every time I was in the ocean.
Yeah.
You know, and it's there, and it was implanted for me from loving those movies when I was younger.
Oh, yeah.
So, and I mean, job done. He did it.
Yeah,
He did
bravo!
it. Right. Yeah.
Bravo!
Yeah.
Yeah, and, yeah, the same thing, dude, like, and it took me a while to get back in the water, and then, I'm in high school, and we're over and I'm surfing at a place called Año Nuevo, which
Hmm.
is where it's known for great whites, and we're
Yeah.
out there in the sets, and all of a sudden, Finn,
Oh
and I was
yeah.
like, "Okay, well, we're paddling in," you know,
Yeah.
but then you're like then the whole time you're paddling, you're like, "I look like a seal. I look like a
Yeah.
seal."
Right. Yeah.
And then you're paddling faster and faster, and you're trying to catch waves just you're not even riding the waves, you're just paddling with the waves, you're like, "Push me faster, go, 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 go." So,
Yeah.
yeah, and that's
Oh
that's
yeah.
that's what they do, and that's awesome.
Yeah.
So,
Oh yeah.
uh, again, yeah, awesome. So
Well. So
should
you
we
know
go
what?
back to our top 6 list?
Hey, at least we got 6 down. At least we got 6 down.
Dude, and you're 3. Like I said, I kind of breezed through them real quick, but
Yeah.
just like, especially number 6, I was like, oh God, that was
yeah,
beautiful.
that was, I was most proud of that one. I was most proud of that one.
And that's the way to lead off. Just
yeah, yeah, right. Hit him over the head right off the bat. Yeah. So, you know, we didn't address this on our last podcast, but and unfortunately more's happened since, but we've lost some great comedy minds the last couple weeks.
Yeah, I was actually going to
Betty White and Bob Saget. But we also lost Sidney Poitier, who completes the Celebrity 3 typically. Although we did lose John Madden in there as well, but more sports personality. So if we want to keep the Celebrity 3 to a 3, put Betty White, Sidney Poitier, and Bob Saget in there. Yeah. But I mean, this 2022 has not started off well for us in terms of comedy talent. Saget, I mean, Betty White, 99 going on 100. We sort of prepared ourselves that this was going to happen soon.
Well, you know, if you saw my video clip that I put out on social media, People Magazine killed Betty White because they're like, oh, she's turning 100. No, you don't do that on somebody's 100th
jinxed
birthday.
it.
You wait till she's over 100, then 101 day.
Right. Yeah. Give me pictures from the 100th party. Don't jinx it like you did.
So People Magazine.
And Saget, man, was. Dude, and then Saget was only 65.
Yeah, he was.
I know.
He was doing a small comedy tour, and they still haven't released anything yet. But
no,
we're getting a note from our director. He had just tweeted like a few hours before that he had just such a great show and stuff. So
I'm nervous to find out when it comes out, what actually happened. That's gonna be a scary story to read.
And I'm pretty sure I read somewhere that he had a few years back had some health issues, like a heart issue or something like that. I thought. I don't quote me on it, but because I follow him on the socials. I followed him for a while, and I remember something about that because he usually posts like every day, like on Twitter or something. And I was never a huge Twitter fan back in the day. I just finally, got on Twitter not too long ago. But I think Instagram is where I started following him a long time ago. And I remember there was always just something like every other day or something. He'd just pop on and do something silly, and or announce a show that he was doing or whatever. And he has a podcast, or had a podcast, I guess I should say.
Yeah.
And so, to just, it seems like he went peacefully, and that's what I pray for.
Right.
It's such a huge loss. Him, Betty White, and then, like you said, Poitier. I mean, you want to talk about a commanding dude who broke so much ground in so many different levels. I mean, not just race wise, but just acting skill. I mean, that guy, he commanded a room. He commanded a script, especially, and I hate to put it in this way, but as a black man in those days, to do the roles he did were just phenomenal. So, and the way he did it,
right.
You just, now for some reason, I just had the name of the first movie I saw him, Coming to Dinner. No, what was it? It was really groundbreaking because he was the daughter's boyfriend.
Oh, Guess Who's Coming to Dinner?
Guess Who's Coming to Dinner? Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah.
That was just, again, so many different levels of groundbreaking, but his role, the way he acted it, he didn't, I don't know. I know it was written one way and he portrayed it another, because he's like, I'm not doing it that way. He's like, this is not how I'm going to be represented. This is not how my people as black people are going to be represented. I'm going to come off as a young, articulate man as I am, and which he was. I
Right.
mean, he was so accomplished and so, I mean, Shakespearean on so many levels. And
Oh, yeah. No, his sort of big hitters were watched in my house, and that's where I got to know him. But where and this is gonna from his complete work, this is gonna sound bad, but one of the movies that I love the most of his is Sneakers.
oh,
It's that's
that
such
is a fun
it's
movie.
it is a really fun movie. It's Redford, Dan Aykroyd, River Phoenix,
Yeah,
David Strathairn, and they're
great cast, great cast.
just one of my favorite scenes is when they're trying to figure out where Redford was taken, and it's
When they go to the
and
Great Bridge.
yeah, and Strathairn is blind, and so he's talking about, oh yeah, and then they took me out at a cocktail party, and it was where all the flamingos were, just because they're all there gabbing and gabbing and gabbing, and
Right.
it's just I don't know, just something about that cast in that movie, and again, I love Poitier in that movie, but I think I just love that movie in general. That's the movie of his that I've seen the most, just because I love it.
Right.
But no, when he's on screen, it's I mean, your focus is automatically drawn to him,
Yeah.
and that's just what it. That was the kind of actor he was. That was the kind of person I assumed that he was as well.
Right.
It's
Yeah.
just a sort of a bigger than life. You walk in a room, he's there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, Denzel Washington, very similar.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
Denzel Washington is just, he's one of those guys that, like somebody writes a script and he goes, okay, well, this is nice, but this is how I'm going to play it, and you're going to deal with it. They're like,
Yeah.
okay, Mr. Washington, that's fine.
Yeah.
And it's not because he's a badass. It's just because he can take a part, and like he could take, okay, in the movie Jaws, he could play the shark and make it the most amazing articulate shark ever, because that's the role he'll
Right.
play, but it'll still be badass.
Yeah.
So,
Right. Yeah.
And again, Poitier broke ground for guys like Denzel Washington, to come in and play that role. And
Yeah.
Washington is like that, but he's also like that off screen too. I mean, I've seen many interviews with Denzel Washington, and you're just like, okay,
Yeah. You're right.
I got to take a minute, because dude, you were just blowing my mind. And
Yeah.
I mean, and he's not afraid. He is not afraid to say anything. Neither was Poitier.
No.
I mean, and I think it's great because there are a lot of actors out there that are doing that. And they're like, you know what? I'm done being portrayed as, this guy who goes out and does this and parties and I'm running around, or as a woman, there's a lot of women that do the same thing. And they're starting to say, hey, you know what? We got ideas and opinions. And now, mind you, some of them, Miley Cyrus, are a little half-baked and a little cuckoo, but no, you get guys like Washington, you get Michael Douglas. There's a lot of people out there, and unfortunately, it's because they've had the time to do their research and the finances to sit back and go, I'm taking 3 months and I'm going to focus my entire life on learning about this. And then they come back and you're like, okay, so you are an expert. Great.
Yeah.
Wish I had that. But again, we're going to start going down a wormhole here. And
yeah. Right. Yeah. Yeah. It's a podcast, not a therapy session today.
Well, yeah, it could be. Welcome to my evil lair.
Oh no. Oh no.
About the depths of modern society. Well, and then on that
note, man. Yeah.
There's always that. So, hey.
Next up. Who's next up?
Next up, we're going to have, where'd he go? Oh, I got to find him. Oh, good Lord. Not him, her.
Yeah.
Him and her. Next week, we're actually, and Mr. Andy, this is going to be fun for us as well. We've got Kimberly Chapman from Wake Up with KC, and Rico Avilas, who is a stand-up comedian, does a podcast as well. And we're going to have them on, and we're going to interview both of them about their separate little shows. But we are going to have a little roundtable discussion about podcasts and podcast
Ooh.
futures and past and whatnot. Because Andy, as we all know, has rum and regrets, and
Yes.
is now you just you've got one.
We
coming out
record.
this
We're recording tonight, so we're going to drop on
Recording
Friday.
dropping on Friday. What's it going to be about?
2022. What we're looking forward to. TV, movie, and video game wise. So.
Yep.
Yeah. So yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's really simple. And we're also going to talk Book of Boba Fett because we're 2 episodes in so far, and we need to talk Star Wars.
Okay. So. Now, quick question, because I keep hearing this. Book of Boba Fett.
Yes.
Explain it to me real quick in the shortest amount of time.
Okay, so the last time you saw Boba Fett, he was eaten by the Sarlacc in Return of the Jedi, right?
I'm sorry, I'm reading Matt's little side note right here.
Yeah,
it's effing great.
Yeah. So the last time you saw Boba Fett in a movie, chronologically, he was eaten by the Sarlacc in Return of the Jedi, right? To be digested over 1,000 years. Well. Yes. This chronicles his journey because he showed up in The Mandalorian and he was featured in season 2. But this chronicles his journey in between events of Return of the Jedi and how he showed up in sort of how he showed up in The Mandalorian, how he got his strength back and everything. So that's what this is. That's what this is about. And then the show comes in after his shot on The Mandalorian, where he takes over Jabba's territory. And so we're back on Tatooine, and we're getting we're back in it. So it's really cool. So I mean, so far it's obviously, as a Star Wars lover, it's incredible. So
okay. So and now, is this a series or is this just going to be a movie?
No, Disney Plus series. Yeah, Disney Plus series. I think it's going to go, I want to say 6 episodes or 8 episodes. So, and the 3rd episode comes out on Wednesday. So,
right on. All right.
Yeah.
Now, also, let's not forget one more time. We're going to plug this.
Oh yeah. Because, let's do it.
March 1st, we're going to have Mr. Tom Rash, DC Comics, Marvel Comics, Dark Horse. I forgot. I think is one of the other ones that he has. He has Black Alpha is his main character that he's done, and then there's now I can't remember the other one, but he's got a couple others that he's really working on right now that are they're getting ready to make a Black Alpha movie. That's his big push, and so very excited about that. But he is going to be on the show. So anybody that you know that's into comics, I mean, this guy's worked on Wolverine, he's worked on Iron Man, he's worked on Batman. And I think there's a couple different versions of Batman too, isn't there, on DC? Kind of like there is with Marvel.
There's several.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Okay, there's the Amazing Spider-Man, there's the Spectacular Peter Parker, or Spectacular Spider-Man. I mean, whatever.
Well, just like any artist's run, there's always like Frank Miller's Batman. There's always a whoever is running the comic book at the time does their sort of take on it.
Right.
So.
But anyway, so we're going to have him on the show. You can be a guest host. That's right. All you got to do is go to the Random Kristian, Kristian show.com/raffle. Go there, put in $3 or put in $12 and you'll get 4 shots because they're divisible by 3. And then what you do is wait till the week before, and we are going to announce on the show who gets the guest spot. Not only do you get to guest host with us on the show and ask Tom all sorts of annoying questions, because that's what we're going to let you do. You won the shot. We are going to let you have some signed artwork from Tom Rash that he's going to send to us as well. So it's going to be very cool. It doesn't get to be anything you choose. You just get what he gives you, and you're going to be happy with it. So I'm not saying. But no, he's promised to give us something real nice, real cool to put into the raffle. And just talking to him on the phone, he's such a fun guy, man. He's going to be a blast. So
that's going to be great.
Make sure you go check that out for March 1st. randomchristianshow.com / raffle, not / And anyway, next week, Wake Up with Casey, Kimberly Chapman, and Rico Aviles. And of course, Mr. Andy, Mr. Matt, as always. Here, let's pop him in real quick so you can say hi. Okay, Matt. I thought you really.
Hi, guys.
Hi, guys.
Anyway, Matt just wanted to say hi, and he missed you all. And Matt, thank you so much for your direction and fun. And now you go back to the room. And Andrew, rum and regrets. You dropping Friday, so looking forward to that. Thank you again so much for your co-hosting and fun and excellent questions.
Quick shout out to Lieutenant Dan for sending in some questions. Thank you, yes. Lieutenant Dan.
Yes, Lieutenant Dan. Awesome questions. Yeah. Appreciate it so much. All right, Andy, we will see you next week, my friend. Have a great day. And to all the rest of you out there, we appreciate you so much for joining in with us. I hope you had a great time. Pass the word around. Make sure to like, follow, subscribe. We're on all the sites, podcast sites, Twitter, Facebook, Twitter, but like us on the Spotify and the Google and the Apple and all those fun little places that we're out and on, especially Good Pods. Great fun site for listening to podcasts and whatnot. So make sure you go check us out on there. In the meantime, be good to each other. We're all we got. Take care of each other, and we will see you next week. All right.